Welcome back to the 62nd annual Sausalito Art Festival. It's 2014, it's Labor Day, it's Monday. There's time to come down and check it out. I'm here with George Sumner. We're going to come back and chat after this clip. Shaka Khan, come and see it. Sausalito Art Festival. We'll be right back.
Sausalito Art Festival, here with artist Clifton Henri. So tell me about your photography.
Well, I'm from Chicago and went to school in Savannah, Georgia. Love New Orleans, and that's where most of the work comes from. I love taking pictures of my personal experiences, stories I've heard growing up. I kind of exclusively shoot African Americans just because I'm interested in showing like us as subjects of fine art, you know what I mean? And I'm excited about it, and it's cool that people come to this festival in general and are very receptive to the work. They see the stories, they see the passion, they see the imagination, and it's good.
So, in the program, you referred to your artwork as urban portraiture. What does that mean to you?
Well, urban portraiture, really just focusing on the individual and the individual story. And people can look at it, relate to it, or they've heard something, and there's some sort of connection that people can make. And the urban part is, I'm a child from Chicago, south side of Chicago. You know, the urbanness is all around me. Even in Savannah or other country areas, you know, it's still urban. It's country urban to me. You know, a lot of texture, a lot of different people, and that's where the urban portraiture comes from. The documentary style comes from the whole storytelling aspect of it, and just building those connections and telling stories. Essentially, I'm a storyteller, a visual storyteller.
So, tell me a little bit about this piece behind us.
Okay, this one behind us is it's called Drawing the Line. And as a musician or as an artist or just a strong-willed individual, period, sometimes you have to draw your line in the sand and make a stance and say, this is who I am, this is what I'm going to do, and that's what it is. So it's kind of a double entendre because he's literally drawing the line. He's drawing his bow across strings. And you can see with the passion in his eyes and his face that this is genuinely, authentically who he is. So that's how I came up with the piece. And he's an amazing violinist. His name is Lee England Jr. and from Chicago area. Fantastic dude. Awesome.
So this is your first time at the Sausalito Art Festival, is that correct?
Yes, this is my first time in Sausalito, period. And this is kind of like my West Coast debut. I jumped at the opportunity to be a part of the show. I'm glad they gave me a call and said, yeah, we want you. So I'm excited to be here. Hopefully this is not the last time. I've had a great response here so far. The weather is awesome. The weather is fantastic, and just excited to be here, to be honest.
Welcome back.
Thank you, Steve.
We're back at the live show for the Sausalito Arts Festival 2014 with our dear friend George Sumner.
How's everybody doing out there?
You should come to the art festival today. It's still early. You can be here all afternoon. George is in booth number 622.
22, the only major booth in the whole show. Oh,
Yeah.
No.
Oh, and it's
the oldest booth in the show.
is that right? It's really great proximity to the stage, right?
Yes,
You
right
get a
in front of the
great
stage.
view of the bands. It's a great view of your amazing artwork. I have some of your art that you've given to me in the past. Let's talk about your art for a little bit. What have you been up to in the last? Well, I've seen you a couple of times over the last year.
Right.
Once on a film set, and then at the gala I saw you guys, and maybe we'll run into each other in town. But for those that don't know and need to be educated, let's talk about some of your paintings.
Well, if we have an hour, I can tell you. But, I think most people may know my work from Hawaii for underwater creations. This year I'm featuring the Golden Gate Bridge because I'm a native San Franciscan, been in Marin for 40 years. But I like large paintings, so the size of the painting is much more fun to me to paint fog, to interpret fog and coming in. But the Sausalito Art Festival, I'm honored to say it is the 46th year in a row I've done this show. And it just keeps getting better and better and better. And it's no accident, because a lot of hard work go into it from volunteers like everybody that runs this show. But you can still come out. The kids will have a ball out here. There's a lot of great artists to see from all over the country. And I can't say I'd love to meet you all.
And as a bonus, as an extra added bonus, you can stop by booth number 622 and you could meet the boss.
Woo! Yeah, the boss. She's directing everything, so when you come in, you have to get an ID check from her before you can come in and buy a painting. Ooh.
Yes. Kids love his work. You also paint buses.
I've painted 3 Marin County Golden Gate Transit buses over the years. They've been out a total of 20 years now. And 2 of them we take out twice a month to children's elementary schools to teach them about the environment. They're underwater murals, and we talk about how you can help save the planet.
Is each one of them a whale, or has it been a different theme?
2 of them are whales. The 3rd one I did for the 75th anniversary of the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yes.
And that's a 48-foot transit bus. It runs from the city to Santa Rosa.
Right, so Marin County residents, San Francisco residents, it's very possible you've seen that whale bus cruising
Yeah,
through
everybody
town.
thinks there's a fleet of buses out there. They put it on a different working line every day, so they think I painted a fleet of them, but there's only one.
We could let them think that.
I know, it's good PR.
That's great. What are you working on? Anything hot on, on the back burner right now?
The latest project I have, I wanted to paint this giant painting for 30 years, and I'm going to do it at the Smith Ranch Airport in the airplane hangar. The painting will be almost 20 feet across, 10 feet high, and I'm going to paint an elephant swimming across a lagoon, eyeball to eyeball, in abstract form with a humpback whale, entitled Gentle Spirits, which are 2 of the greatest, most intelligent animals on the planet that are still sadly endangered.
Wow, even just the thought of that painting is exciting.
Thank you.
That's
and then
really
Steve's
cool.
going to buy it for a very nominal fee.
Yeah. When America's Still the Place comes out and takes off, then I'll, my first check will go to that painting.
All right, you all heard that. Everybody, I want a phone call to put that on record.
Phone call confirmation. How about the weather?
Weather's 3 days in
man.
a row is unusual for Sausalito, but I kind of miss a little of that fog, but it'll be in tomorrow night.
Yeah, the fog is beautiful. I mean, that's the living artwork here for me. I just live here in Sausalito up the hill, and that fog that rolls over is just amazing natural artwork.
The 2 major paintings I'm featuring in the show here today are all related to fog coming in over the coast. 3 feet by 8 foot paintings. They're at the 622 booth.
Yeah, and then so we have some great music too, don't we?
Pete Escovedo right now. Behind him, Tommy Castro.
Yeah.
The music, the weather, the company has been fantastic.
Beyond fantastic.
You gotta come. Don't anybody stay home right now. Get out.
You could still catch Tower of Power today. There's ferry packages that the Blue and Gold Fleet has, blueandgoldfleet.com. You can buy a art festival ticket and a ferry ticket, and they'll drop you off right here, right next to us. You can still catch Tower of Power this afternoon.
So easy.
Too easy. Speaking of Tommy Castro,
yes,
I caught up with Tommy Castro. Caught up with him, and he spent some time with us and told us a little bit about his experience here at the festival. And he's got a new album coming out, and a new tour coming out. He's a Marin County resident, great guy. Check this piece out with myself and Mr. Tommy Castro. George Sumner, Sausalito Art Festival 2014. Steven Wiig.
Aloha.
Shaka Khan.
Shaka Khan. Shaka. Yeah. Thank you.
Welcome back. My name is Steven Wiig. We're here at the Sausalito Art Festival 2014. It's the 62nd year, and we have an old friend rejoining us who's been here. You were here almost 10 years ago, you think, possibly?
I don't remember the exact date.
Mr. Tommy Castro.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me. I can't remember. It's been at least 10 years, though, I would think. Maybe more.
Tommy grew up in San Jose. He's currently a Marin County resident for over a decade, right?
Yep.
He's got kids in school.
Central High, and just my daughter Gabby just just left the roost, went up to college, and and she just graduated from San Rafael High. So yeah, I've been living here. They've been going to school in the county since they were like in preschool.
Yeah.
And my son Jackson is here. He's a 16-year-old student, and him and his buddy that they've known each other since they were 3 are my roadies today. I got them. Nice.
Keep it in the family.
Change guitar strings if it's necessary, and they're schlepping all the heavy stuff.
Right. Well, it's a
cool.
beautiful, beautiful day, beautiful place to be schlepping. I think just being outside is amazing. So welcome back to the festival. You just in January put out the new album, The Devil You Know.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little about where you recorded that? Does that have some Bay Area connection as well?
Well, I really part of my plan for The Devil You Know was to keep it, use all the talent and resources that we have right here in Marin County and in the Bay Area. But I really was able to do most of it right here in the county. Like we recorded a lot of tracks at Studio D, and some of the tracks we recorded at Tarpan, an artist studio, and we did some overdubs at Bonnie Hayes and Eric Schramm's little studio that, we did a lot of the songwriting and pre-production and overdubs at Bonnie's studio. And, I had local talent like Tal Morris and Mark Karen, helping me find really cool guitar tones and, experimenting around with sounds and things like that. And there's I can't forget Chris Manning is also was the mix engineer.
Yeah.
Really helped us to get the sound that we were looking for.
That's great. I worked with Chris actually years ago at the Plant recording studio right here in Sausalito. So Chris is another local favorite.
Yeah, he worked on some big records. He worked on Supernatural, and he's got some platinum albums on his wall.
Yeah.
And but he knew what we were going for, which was a grittier, more guitar-driven sound. It was my first album without horns and kind of trying to get things back to basics. More blues-based music. Guitar-driven, and so sort of like a little bit of going back to a little bit more of a blues-based album, but also a little bit more contemporary. I've been, speaking of my kids, this came out in the paper the other day because I was telling Paul Libatore about it, and when we were living in Tiburon and they were going to school in San Rafael. Their mom lives in San Rafael, and I lived in Tiburon with my partner Maureen Block, and. But it meant driving them to school every day, which is it's a pretty good little drive back and forth.
Tiburon Boulevard, right?
And so when they became certain age, they started like taking over the music programming in the car on the rides.
Right.
And they like really good music, and they exposed me to some stuff that I wasn't listening to, and it really affected the new sound. And this new album that I have out, so that's kind of an interesting little.
Right,
choice.
that's the gift of children, right? It's like all of a sudden they start, exposing you to these new things. You think it's all about you exposing them to things, and all of a sudden it starts to sort of turn around on you, doesn't it?
Well, it was a little of both, because they listened to Otis Redding and Etta James and Ray Charles, and along with Green Day and Jack White and stuff like that. They got a great mix of. Stuff. I sent my son to see Paul McCartney.
Candlestick show.
That was like the most amazing time of his whole life because he's such a huge Beatles fan. So the kids like good music, and and it was really cool how they kind of helped me to like find some new material or ideas, anyways, for this new album. And so I'm happy the way it came out. We had some, like I told you, Bonnie Hayes was our producer as well as co-songwriting on almost everything, and. My partner in crime, Randy McDonald, had just come back to the band after a 4-year hiatus, and we came up with the concept for the Painkillers and the album The Devil You Know, and it's pretty exciting times for us right now. We've been on tour constantly ever since, and we're fixing to go out on the Blues Cruise again in October, and then right after that we hit the road. But before that, we go to Mill Valley.
I was going to say, somewhere in there, you're hitting the Sweetwater in Mill Valley.
I got to plug everything that's coming up in the neighborhood.
We have to, yeah. So you know where to find Tommy. And that's
Valley,
October 3rd.
October 3rd,
at the Sweetwater, which is a great little venue. I mean, it's I don't want to say little venue, but it's so such great sound and just a really, really great great spot.
I go see shows there every chance I get, and I especially like going to see Mark Karen and friends. He's such an amazing guitar player, man. And he always brings up so many other great players just jump up and jam with him. It's like always a good show. So I check out a show down there whenever I can, or one of my friends in town, like Tab Benoit came to play the Sweetwater, and I got him to play on my record while he was in the neighborhood. We had also had some Marcia Ball was passing through. I got her to come and play on the record while she was in town, and Joe Bonamassa has also made a special guest appearance, but that was more of like I sent files to LA and he cut his parts and sent them back, which is one of the great things that you can do now.
Right. It's very 2014, right?
You know, you've got to take advantage of what you can. I don't know if we would have been able to get our schedules together. He's a very busy guy, and I'm a very busy guy, and it worked out because of that. And we also got Magic Dick from the Jay Giles Band. He was in Boston. We sent him some files. He played the harmonica on it, sent it back. Holmes Brothers, and it was really
so the Devil You Know
process.
is quite a star. It's a star-studded piece for you guys.
For blues fans, yeah, you know, cats like Joe and Tab are very popular on the blues scene. Marcia Ball. There's a young artist, up-and-comer, Samantha Fish from Kansas City, Missouri. An amazing, like, 20-something strong singer. You know, I saw Bonnie here today, Bonnie Raitt. You know, she's kind of like, will remind you a little bit of Bonnie or Susan Tedeschi in her vocals, but she's a strong guitar player too. Really great. She's on there. And Johnny Taylor's daughter was she's going to be putting out a record here pretty soon. Johnny Taylor's daughter is an amazing talent. Her name's Tasha Taylor. And we got her to do a track with me on the new album. So it was a lot of fun making this record. It was a long time in the works. Working on the songs a lot, because the songs to me are the most important thing. Yeah. And I don't like making a record until I know I got the right songs. And like I say, Bonnie was a big help on that. And we finally put that out like in January, and have been just running around the country and a few other countries. And
yeah, you're going to Europe shortly, right?
Yeah, we're going to Europe again, like in a couple weeks. Play a few festivals.
And the cruise, and then you're going to do some States shows across the country.
Yeah, we got a full 6-week tour of the States coming up right after the Blues Cruise in early October.
And then you're going to finish out the year with a New Year's show in Petaluma. Is that correct?
Our return to Petaluma. We didn't do Petaluma last year. We did Vallejo instead, which was awesome. Okay. But we decided to come back and play Petaluma this year, and of course, you know, I love that place. The Mystic Theater in Petaluma on New Year's it's really a great fit for us. Yeah.
So you might want to mark your calendars now and just make a note of, you know, New Year's plans. They're taken care of. Tommy took care of you.
And I'm bringing my old sax player Keith Crossan will be joining us on New Year's.
Oh, nice.
So that's cool. Him and Nancy Wright. We're going to bring back the horns for second half of the night. Like, we'll do a Painkiller set with the new lineup, and then we'll come back after a break, and then we'll do some older songs with horns arrangements and stuff, and featuring Keith, and that'll be fun because a lot of people miss Keith. You know, I miss Keith. You know, we're doing something different now, and it's all good. But it'll be really great to do some shows with Keith and Nancy, and there you go. I guess that's it for me today. How about these guys? Oh, this sounded pretty good.
Incredible. And Taj Mahal earlier. Just a great lineup.
Yeah, now I miss Taj. I miss Taj, but I'm going to see him in October, so he's on that cruise with us.
Oh, he is? Okay.
He goes on every blues cruise, so I won't miss him again.
And your website
He's one of my favorite artists of all time.
Yeah.
I
was fantastic today.
When I was 14 years old, and some of my friends were listening to, like, you know, whatever, psychedelic music or heavy metal music, and I was listening to Taj Mahal, the Old Folks at Home and Giant Step album. Really blew my mind when I was a young guitar player, and some of the first songs I ever sang was Taj Mahal songs.
I was going to ask, how did you find the guitar? How did the guitar find you in the blues? Like, where are the origins of that for you?
Well,
you say you were 10 years old maybe when you started to make that connection?
Yeah, well, I had an older brother. I don't know if I would have thought of it, to be honest with you. My older brother was a guy that was always, he always had a lot of great ideas, you know, and one of them was play guitar. He picked up the guitar, he started playing Beatles and Stones, and he joined a little rock and roll band, you know, playing a cover band, but they were really good. Yeah. And I loved it, man. I would sit there and listen to them, and whenever he wasn't looking, I'd take his guitar and mess around with it. And then he started showing me some chords, and you know, I never actually in those. I wish I had a teacher when I was young, but my brother taught me what he knew. I had a chord book. I listened to records. I learned basically how to play by ear. But I just love to play. I never really dreamed that I would be doing it for a living. I just thought that was way too good to be true. I never even entertained the idea that I would be a musician and that would be my life. I just loved to do it, and I did it for fun. I kind of sucked at sports, you know, and so playing guitar was my salvation, you know. And so I played when I was a kid, and I kept hanging out with friends of mine, and we'd get together in garages and jam. And eventually one day it hit me. I went, this is what I'm supposed to do. I just knew it. And I kind of never looked back, you know.
That's great. Well, we're so happy to have you here today. Can't wait for you to get in front of this crowd and in this beautiful, beautiful weather. And
I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm gonna get some sunscreen on though. It's gonna be
it looks like a pretty sunny stage right now.
Full frontal sun.
Yes.
It's gonna be the deal. But I brought sunglasses.
Yes.
And I'm ready to rock.
All right. So if we want to check out your stuff, you got to go to TommyCastro.com, correct? They can find the album through TommyCastro.com, or is it iTunes?
Oh yeah, it's on Alligator Records, and you could find it on their website or my website. But what I really want you to do is like me on Facebook. Even if you don't like me, if you could like me on Facebook, I would really appreciate it.
That's the first thing I'm going to do after this interview. I'm going to go like you on Facebook. And that's just Tommy Castro on Facebook?
Yeah, Tommy Castro, musician.
Okay.
If you come on my regular page, it won't be any. It's like I've got too many friends.
Okay.
They got the nerve to tell me I have too many friends. I mean, I was pissed off when I first heard that, right? I said, what do you mean I have too many friends?
That's not possible to have too many friends.
Anyway, yeah. But then they have this other page. It's a musician, but you have all the likes that you want.
Right. Okay.
And that's really how we keep in touch with our fan base nowadays.
Right.
More so than email lists or anything like that, you know. So.
That's great.
So please like us on Facebook so we can keep in touch.
That's your instruction. Go like Tommy Castro, musician, on Facebook. Come and see him in Mill Valley on October 3rd at the Sweetwater. Make your New Year's plans for Petaluma. Tommy Castro, Sausalito Art Festival 2014, 62nd year of the festival. So nice to have you back.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate you. Marin County, California. Cheers. Hey guys, welcome back to the Sausalito Art Festival. It's Labor Day weekend. Today is Labor Day. It's day 3 of the festival. We got a full afternoon of continued entertainment, brand new entertainment. Some of the same 260 plus artists. The children's area is back again, up and running with magic shows and talent shows and comedians. We've got Tower of Power coming up this afternoon, performing. You saw Tommy Castro performing yesterday. He put on a great show. And we're going to jump over to another clip now where I spoke to Marlene Rose, who does some pretty cool glass sculpture that involves metal, and the whole process is pretty fascinating. So check out this clip from Marlene Rose, one of our 260 artists here at the Sausalito Art Festival 2014. Come and join us at the festival. If you can't, we're glad you're watching right now. Stay tuned. We're here at the live show, Sausalito Art Festival 2014. I'm Steven Wiig. Thank you. This is Steven Wiig here with Miss Marlene Rose, who is working on some cast glass sculpture at the Sausalito Art Festival this year. Is this your first time here?
No, it's not. It's actually my 5th year.
Your 5th year here. Well, welcome back.
Thank you so much.
Can you talk a little bit about what it is that you do? I'm really intrigued by this one right here, this butterfly with the nails in it, and it's a combination of glass and metal, which is not super common. Is that correct?
It isn't common. It's a technique that was developed in the mid-1980s, if you can believe it. It's based on an old metal casting technique that's been around for thousands of years. Glass has been around for thousands of years, but the union of the two didn't happen until the mid-80s. So it's kind of a new approach to glass making. And with this particular piece, you know, I've been doing these butterflies, and I was inspired by my children who are looking at butterflies and insects and birds, and the concept is about transformation and who you can become despite any sort of obstacles and barriers in one's life. You can still become something beautiful even though you've had your scars and
Or you have a few nails in your...
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's really nice stuff. What's the process for you then? Do you work out of like a garage or a warehouse or your back shed or something, or where do you do your work, and what's the work-like process for you?
It's made in Florida. I work in a studio that's very specialized for this technique. You need very specialized equipment. And what I do is it's a stamp and a pour technique. If you ever made candles in the sand, it's kind of like that, but extremely dangerous. And so all of the shapes that you see here, I made out of another material that I stamp into wet sand. I stamp the shape, I pack the sand around the shape, I take it out, you're left with a hole in the sand, and then I pour the molten glass, 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, into the sand. It sets up in about 15-20 minutes, and then you take it out of the mold at 1,000 degrees, and you put it in a cooling oven that slowly cools it back to room temperature gradually over the course of a week.
Wow. Do your kids ever help you out?
You know, sometimes they do, but I try to keep them away from the studio. It's pretty dangerous.
It's hot, caution hot, right?
Very hot, and
I
it's
suppose there's nails and glass everywhere.
yeah, and liquid molten lavas flying around, and torches, and yeah, I'm a thrill seeker.
Nice. And where you said it's in Florida?
Yes, in St. Petersburg.
Where can people see more of your work? You have a website?
I have a website. It shows the technique. I'm in about 15 galleries across the U.S. and Canada. I just got picked up by Gumps. They have some of my work there in downtown Union Square area. So yeah, you can see my work online. You can see the process there. It's a great film.
What is the website?
It's MarleneRoseGlass.com.
MarleneRoseGlass.com. That'll show up on the screen as we're talking here. Well, welcome back to the festival.
Thank you so much.
Are there any pieces in particular you wanted to talk about with us while we're here? Anything that's particularly unique or has an interesting story?
Yeah, I would say those color pieces are new just because of the scale.
Yeah.
I've kind of achieved a new level of scale for my work where, you know, necessity, somebody wanted a big piece, and since we lift the pieces out of the sand and put them in a slow cooling oven, I'm limited to the amount that I can pick up. Mm-hmm. And so somebody wanted a piece really big. After 6 tries on the floor and it's broken, I came up with something, and a technique where I...
You get a membership to Gold's Gym for 6 months.
Yeah, and then I'm able to lift it. Exactly. But no, I came up with a whole new method to make larger pieces out of necessity. Okay. So that one is exciting in its sheer just scale and size. But
so again, art in evolution, right?
Yes.
There's an evolution to the process always. Right?
Absolutely. In the over 20 years that I've been doing this technique, it's continued to excite me, and I'm constantly challenged by things like that to push me to the next level of what I can do with this method. And it incorporates so much of what I love to do in one medium. You know, you start with an idea, you sketch it, you come up with the mold work, it's sculpting. When I'm working in the sand and doing my colors, it's like painting. It's very physical and dangerous, which I love, you know, team sports, and I love, you know, adrenaline rush, and it's definitely that. It's so dangerous, you can lose a limb. Mm-hmm. So it keeps me on my toes.
Yeah. Well, you still have them before you lose them. So how much of your work is commissioned?
I'd say there is a small percentage. Usually it's kind of what you see here, and then people will buy what they see. But if they have a specific location that they want something similar to what I do, I will do something, you know, in another color or a larger version, or I don't do, you know, necessarily very different things, and I will do, but I do commissions.
If they want some slight modification on
Yes.
on what you've created, they can contact you and you can have a conversation. Right?
Absolutely. I will definitely have a conversation.
Okay, and that would also be MarleneRoseGlass.com.
Yes.
That's where they should inquire.
Absolutely.
All right, well, nice to see you again. Welcome
nice
back.
to see you too.
And come down to the Sausalito Art Festival this weekend and come and see some of Marlene's work yourself. It's really cool to see it in the sunlight, and we'll grab some other shots here as well to share for this interview. But
Awesome.
Come down, see some of the great work, meet the great artists, hear their stories, interact, enjoy some sunlight and some glass. Watch your toes. Sausalito Art Festival 2014. Steven Wiig, Marlene Rose. See ya. Welcome back, folks. We're at the Sausalito Art Festival 2014. That was Marlene Rose, and I want to give a shout out to our camera guys, Warner Goff and James Railman, who helped grab that clip. Shot some great footage of our artists here. In fact, they've been doing it all weekend, and we appreciate their services and appreciate the service of all the volunteers that come out over the weekend. There's thousands of volunteers that help out in all different categories, including one of the most prestigious positions, which is working with Mr. Garbage, Jack Schwartz himself, Sausalito icon, the local Little League coach. It's a great time. It's a great way to serve, and it's a great way to be a part of this great community. You get free passes to the festival, and shifts are short, shifts are easy, and you get to spend some time around great, appreciative people, great art, great music, great food, great fun all around. So now we are going to jump into the winner of the drawing category. It is Helen Gotlib. Is that correct, Trace? Is that Helen Gotlib? Yeah, it's Helen Gotlib is the winner of the drawing category, and we want to take you to a clip. Second place? Okay, we'll figure it out. It's all good. She's first place in my heart. Here's Helen Gotlib and our very own Erin Lopez at the Sausalito Art Festival. Thanks.
We're here at the Sausalito Art Festival and with artist Helen Gotlib. So tell me about some of your life drawings.
So all my life drawings, I have models that come to my studio that pose, and I mostly draw women, and I just love the female form. Think it's really gorgeous, and like to show what real women look like, and so that's and then all of my work is mainly done with crayon, and then while the model's posing, then I go back in with some gouache and liquid acrylic paints to paint the backgrounds. And
See, I'm noticing the beautiful figure work you have here in your booth, but one of the other things I noticed is some of your wonderful botanical drawings, like this, I believe it's a cabbage behind us, is that correct?
It is, it's a cabbage. Actually, last summer my sister had this amazing vegetable garden, and she brought me this little red cabbage after, when she was harvesting everything, and she was so proud of it. She's like, oh, this is organic, and I was like, oh, cool, and I'm thinking, I don't really eat cabbage that much, I don't know what to do with this, and I took it to the kitchen. I was like, oh, maybe I'll make a salad, and I cut it in half, and I just was like, whoa, this is so beautiful, I can't eat this, I need to draw it. And I started doing a whole bunch of small pen and ink studies of it, and then quickly got really obsessed and started going to the farmer's market and looking for different shaped cabbages, and because every one you cut open looks different, so is kind of a process from working from those small drawings to a larger thing. I had the idea for these larger pieces because I thought the small intricacy might kind of give like a totally different feel. Looking at it big, it gives an abstract element. And it's very interesting to hear what different people say when they come into my booth, or like what city I'm showing it in. Some people will know right away it's a cabbage, and other people will be like a little boy came into my booth earlier today, and he was like, what is that? And I said, well, what do you think it is? And he's like, the Milky Way, or like a planet or something, and so or like a rose. People just think all sorts of different things, and it's interesting to hear the reactions. So
I can see some pencil work, and it looks like watercolor. Is that correct?
Yeah, what I do on this piece, all the line work is done with actually a crayon. So I start by doing crayon on the white paper, and then I work in with a gouache in the background, a yellow ochre gouache, and I let that dry. And then I take a very small paintbrush and paint on India ink in tiny areas, like about this big at a time, and let it dry partially. But before it dries all the way, I actually take the paper, put it under the faucet, and wash off the excess ink. And that's how I'm getting the weathered effects in here. And since it gets the paper really wet, I need to actually use a hair dryer in between to like dry the piece off and then work on it again, you know, many, many layers to get this effect all over. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time and for introducing us to your beautiful artwork.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm Erin Lopez at the Sausalito Art Festival.
Welcome back, Sausalito Art Festival 2014. And that was another nice clip of Helen Gotlib, who was second place in the drawing competition this year. We're going to go to another quick clip right now. This is with Kathleen Linsky. She is responsible for, I believe, this year's poster for the Sausalito Art Festival. So let's take a look at that clip. We'll be right back here on the live show at the Sausalito Art Festival 2014.
Erin Lopez at the Sausalito Art Festival, and I'm here with artist Kathleen Linsky. She is the painter that painted the image for this year's Sausalito Art Festival poster. So tell us a little bit about the painting and your inspiration for it.
The painting was done from the hills in Tiburon, looking back towards the Sausalito waterfront. So you're seeing the whole bay, the San Francisco Bay, the Golden Gate Bridge in the distance, and then some of the development right along the waterfront edge, and also looking at the kind of the rolling golden hills of California in the foreground of the piece. But it's a beautiful piece. I love playing with the quality of light in all the images that I do, and this particular piece is a little out of the ordinary. Generally, structures and things like the bridge don't appear in my paintings. It's purely landscape, but this is definitely just a beautiful, beautiful piece that I was very happy to produce for Sausalito.
So how did you get into artistry?
I have been doing art since I was a little kid. Grew up in a family that had absolutely nothing to do with art. Our family never set foot in a gallery or a museum, but I always had an interest in drawing and painting, and went to a specialized high school in Detroit, Michigan, where I grew up, where I was able to major in art for 3 years in high school. And in that school, I had extremely academic training. So in high school, I was able to study drawing, painting, printmaking, charcoal, art, art history, color theory, advertising design, calligraphy, all of that. And so I had gotten a scholarship to the Columbus College of Art and Design in Ohio, and I visited my sister about midnight of the night I graduated from high school, came out to California to visit her, and never went back. That it was the late 60s, San Francisco, the music scene was happening. I had never seen an area so beautiful. We had friends in San Anselmo, she took me to Yosemite, we went to Stinson Beach, you know, we played on the bay, and I just thought, why would I go to school in Ohio if I could live in California? So I actually lived in San Francisco with my sister and a couple of other roommates and commuted to the College of Marin, because even then I was smitten with the beauty of Marin County. And so during breaks in my classes I would hike through the hills, and I began painting landscape at that time, then transferred to UC Santa Cruz, where I really started to work with oils and with printmaking techniques.
So how many times have you been at the Sausalito Art Festival?
More than you want to know. But I believe I did my first show in 1981. It was then located on Caledonia Street at the old schoolyard. It was a wild scene. It was before music was even a part of the show. Wow. But my very first year, I won a prize. The juror that year was from a gallery that was very highly regarded in San Francisco. And so I was thrilled to be a part of the show and to actually, win a prize at the show for the printmaking that I was doing at that time. And for the first 15 years of my career, I concentrated on silkscreen printing, also known as serigraphy. And so I did the show as a printmaker. Usually Tom Killian and I would trade first and second prize in printmaking for many years. And I also knew Tom at UC Santa Cruz. We were friends then. I've been to Tom's wedding, know him quite well, and so that's always fun. So I also went to the show when it was held at the old Zach's restaurant location on the waterfront in Sausalito, and I've been participating since it's moved here as well. And believe me, there's nothing like it now.
So you started in printmaking, and now you're doing California landscapes. Why did you transition?
I began doing things in silk screening that were really bending the medium. So I was doing very complex prints, trying to do things that the medium really isn't intended to do. So I think when I finally printed a 35 color print, I decided that I should be painting more seriously than printmaking itself. And although landscape had been my imagery, both in the printmaking and the painting, I started to create very large pieces like the one behind us. And so that kind of eliminated the restrictions of silkscreen and set me free as a painter to work with more complex qualities of light and detail. And so I love working in oils. The largest painting that I've ever done was an 8 by 14 foot landscape that I was commissioned to do for an office building in Salt Lake City. Wow. From Zion National Park, and an 8 by 4 foot painting that also went into the same building.
So how long did those paintings take you to do?
Months. Usually a painting this size, which is 36 by 66, about 3 feet by 5.5 feet, this will take me a little over 2 months to do. That I bring a lot of attention to detail. I really work with blending the colors and trying to get this very elusive quality of light in the work that I do. And so it's something that's very painstaking and detail oriented, but for some reason I never find that work tedious, that I can lose myself in detail for hours at a time, working with a very fine brush and doing all the layers of detail in a piece, happy as can be. It's very meditative for me. And capturing that quality of light in California landscape is really the focus of what I do.
And it's one of the things that your pieces showcases beautifully. So how did you learn to capture light so well?
I think that that's just something that I've developed on my own over the 30 years that I've been doing it professionally. That's always been my fascination with the landscape. But part of what I've learned is how to get, again, this very elusive quality of light. And I think it's partially the marine layer here, that there's moisture in the air, and when the shadows get long and the light gets interesting at the end of the day, the moisture in the air kind of picks up that color, flattens out some of the ridges like Tamalpais into just big shapes of color. And so I capture that on film, I go out and shoot photographs, and then do all the painting in my studio.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time to be interviewed today, Kathleen. We really appreciate it.
Quite welcome. Happy to be a part of it. Thank you so much.
Erin Lopez with Kathleen Linsky at the Sausalito Art Festival.
Sausalito Art Festival 2014. Thanks, that was our very own Erin Lopez speaking with Kathleen Linsky, this year's poster designer for the Sausalito Art Festival. It's 2014 and you're here at the live show with us. Plenty of entertainment still to come today. Tower of Power comes on at 3:30, I believe. And you see all kinds of other great artists. Pride and Joy is going to come up next. And we're going to go to another clip here shortly, which is, I believe it's a kaleidoscopic piece that you're about to see from Mr. Mark Reynolds and Carolyn, I believe. So let's take a look at that clip right now here at the Sausalito Art Festival. It's Labor Day weekend. In fact, it's Labor Day. Enjoy. We'll be right back at the live show. Thanks.
Yeah, I am having fun. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dizzy Jones, and we are live at the Sausalito Arts Festival. Joining me is Mr. Mark Reynolds. Hi, Mark.
Hi there, Dizzy.
How are you doing today?
Oh, it's a great day.
Isn't it wonderful?
It's very wonderful.
We've got a beautiful breeze and wonderful music.
Great crowd.
Great crowd?
Great crowd.
Really great. We're having fun, and I'm here to talk to you about your art. Amazing. Kaleidoscopes.
Yes.
And where do we even begin? Where do we begin? What did you think when you're like, kaleidoscopes?
Well,
it's children's, it's a child's toy. And
I started out about 35 years ago. I was in college in Austin, Texas, and my brother and I made some pretty crude kaleidoscopes, and we sold them at a little hippie market at Christmas time.
So what did you make them out of when you were young?
Cardboard tubes. We hand painted them. They were very rustic, but they were very cool, and people loved them.
What did you put inside?
Just, we would take combs and cut out the teeth. We would take seashells, beads and baubles, anything.
And what was the liquid inside?
Well, our first ones, we didn't do liquid until after about 5 years. They were just dry cells.
Okay, so then take us to now. So then you grew up, you refined your skills. I mean, this is an amazing work of art. Tell us about how you make this piece.
Well, I've been making, like I say, scopes for about 35 years, and I didn't know any woodworking, had no woodworking experience. Over time, I started to learn woodworking, but it took me 25 years to get to where I could start making larger pieces like this. So it was just
It's incredible.
an evolutionary process. This one I just finished last week. It's only the second one of this style I've made. But you need to get a picture of the inside because that's where it's at.
Absolutely. A kaleidoscope is, I mean, this is beautiful, obviously, on the outside. However, you're right. The true magic is within, just like with most things.
So the way these are built is I play around with mirror systems. They're all 3 mirrors inside. And I figure out the way I want to make the mirrors to make the image. And then I design the outside, the wood part, based on how the shape of the mirrors are. That's why you see some crazy shapes with all my other parlor scopes.
So you first decide what you want it to look like,
Yes.
like how you want the fractals to go,
Yes.
and then you build the framework around that. And you said that you had no woodworking experience originally. That is very hard to believe because this is magnificent. Are you self-taught? Did you take classes?
I'm self-taught, but keep in mind, it took me 30 years. I'm a slow learner.
I couldn't do it in 100 years. It's magnificent, very magnificent. And what do you put on the inside?
Well, I have chambers in here that are oil filled, and when I say we, my wife and I, my wife does the chambers, and she's real good at, she torches hot glass, and she finds objects, and we'll try anything, but she's really good at getting the shapes and colors, and puts them in a chamber that we build, and then we fill it with mineral oil so that everything floats and goes in slow motion.
It's gorgeous, and I have to say there must be some amazing prisms inside because there are just rainbows all over this side of you right now, all over the side of your face.
And it's reflecting back.
It's so true. And tell me, approximately how long does it take to build one of these, outside and inside?
Well, that's the most asked question, and it's a frustrating question because hundreds of hours of developing the idea, and then once you have that, then you can start actually building the pieces. So I'll work over a month of time. The first ones I did of the large format, I spent 6 months just messing around with it. And
so once you have the basic structure down, you say it could take up to a month to build just one kaleidoscope.
right, and I'll make a couple at a time, but over a month, it'll just, step after step after step. Because there's the outside, which is all the wood. Once I do all the woodwork, pretty much to the end, almost, then I have to build the mirror system. That takes me a day, and it's very tedious and tense. And and while I'm doing that, Carol is making the parts, the cell with the floating objects, and then it all comes together in one day at the end.
And so you work as a team together on each piece.
Yeah, we do everything together.
That's wonderful. That's a beautiful thing. Mark, thank you so much. One final question.
Yes?
Yes, one final question. Can I have one?
Sure, you're welcome to pick whatever you like.
I'll take the newest, biggest one, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
there you go.
Thank you so much.
Well, thanks.
Really nice
That
to
was
meet
fun.
you. Really fun.
Okay?
Yeah. Pete Escovedo tearing up the Sausalito Art Festival. My goodness. I'm here with our team captain, our producer, aide number 1, Mr. Tracy Peterson, back with our traditional sign-off for the live show.
This is it. Another year in the can. 3 days of live streaming by Steven Wiig, the host with the most. Thank you very much for holding it down.
Most of, but
it was a lot of things that we can go into off camera.
Yes.
But thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Steven, for hosting. I want to thank Ken Fox, Artemis Deco, Werner Goff, Aaron Vietti, Erin Lopez,
Dizzy Jones.
We got, I think there's one more too. James Railman, who is awesome on the
video
camera.
guy, yeah.
Homer Ibarra showed up and helped us out a little bit. Bunches of folks. The board who supports us every year. The sponsors, definitely Lappert's Ice Cream. Napa Valley Burger Company, both two Sausalito local companies who supported us this year. Yeah, it's a good year. So.
Another great year. Another one in the can. Hopefully more room in the can for future.
There's more room in the can for next year as well. The lines for the can, speaking of, there's out of control. But so thanks again for everybody.
Actually, there's plenty of cans.
Yeah,
the lines are pretty short here,
cans
so
everywhere.
there's no worries. You can come down and feel free to test them out yourself.
So come down to the art festival. It's a beautiful day. So
yeah, here's a tip. Come down next year. It's every Labor Day weekend. Next year will be 2015 Sausalito Art Festival. This will be 63. Go to sausalitoartfestival.org, which you should be at right now, and find out how to volunteer next year. There's thousands of slots to be filled.
You know, something I saw earlier that I thought was really impressive. If you look at this impressive list of bands on his list, he's got all three comfortable cloth bands. You won't be in any discomfort wearing them. But look at that, with pride.
I showered in them. And they held up.
You showered. That's
showered.
excellent. Thank you for that. That's awesome.
Well, I got the memo.
All right, good. So he is getting my emails. That's fantastic. Yeah, the volunteering is a huge thing. We do it every year, and everybody's invited. If you pay attention to the website, you'll have information about volunteering, including volunteering on this team if you want to participate in live streaming.
Yeah, if you have any video experience on or off camera, we brought in Erin Lopez and Dizzy Jones this year to help us out with some of those great interviews, and they great addition.
They did a great job. They did a great job.
Erin's been behind the camera with us for a couple of years now, and she decided to jump in front and get to know some artists up close and personal.
Absolutely.
If you have any experience in that department, it's a great way to experience the festival, and it kind of takes it to a whole nother level for me, anyways. Getting to meet the people behind the work and hear their stories.
Oh yeah,
really takes it to the next level.
Well, you've made some friends with the artists over the years too, right?
I'm buddies with a bunch of these people now.
Birthdays. Christmas,
birthdays, bar mitzvahs, whatever. Yeah.
Right on. Well, I'm going to go ahead and shut us down. Thank you so much once again, and we'll see you next year at the Sausalito Art Festival.
Tracy Peterson, Steven Wiig, Sausalito Art Festival 2014. We're signing off of the live show, but the festival continues till 5 p.m. today, so it's not too late. Thanks for joining us. Adios.